Hello, my dear subscribers, dear viewers, and new subscribers. I have titled today's broadcast, Does Europe Have a Chance? The reason for today's broadcast is the events related to the blackout that yesterday covered an area of almost 800,000 square kilometers. And with a population of about 80 million people, no one knows the reasons yet, or they are not publishing these reasons as to why the blackout occurred in Europe. Transport stopped, or planes did not land, all trains were halted, or people were left in the subway. Traffic lights went out. Supermarkets emptied. People began to buy up products. What will we talk about today? How will European all countries behave in the event of a large-scale crisis? What are the chances of survival? If the blackout lasts a week, a month, 2, or 3, what might happen? And how will Europe cope? And where is their strong centralized power and where is it weak? We must take into account that, for example, in those regions, rural regions in Catalonia, in the Basque country, for instance, because Spain was most affected. In the mountainous areas of Andalusia, the historical experience of civil conflicts is considerable, quite significant. And people will be able to protect themselves from migrants. Why from migrants? I posted a video on my Telegram channel showing what migrants did in Madrid when there was no electricity. You can watch it there. Which countries will be able to resist and which will not? Which territories of Europe will be able to survive and which will not? Let's start with Western Europe. Strong local identity. Sicily, Sardinia. Effective power is centralized, weak. Belgium is politically divided. Flanders, Wallonia. Federal system, little control by the central authority. In Greece, there is extensive experience with local conflicts. Strong local ties in regions, especially on the islands. The Balkans, Serbia, Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia. Historically strong local clan structures inclined towards self-defense. Which countries are most likely to choose strict centralization? That is, suppression of unrest, looting, and violence using the following tools: army, police, special services. This is Germany. Traditions of state obedience in Germany during crisis situations, strong bureaucratic power, and police system. How successful this will be, no one knows yet. And in which cities it will be successful, and in which it won't. But we must take these circumstances into account. The Netherlands, small territory, high population density, and strong centralized management. Austria, cultural discipline that is present, commitment to state institutions. The same can be said about Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. High level of trust in authorities, accustomed to centralized measures. Well, and in Slovakia there are strict control systems. And response to such situations. Of course, the same cultural discipline is present in many European countries. Now, let's examine special cases. A country like Switzerland will go its own way. There will be activation of local militias. State control will be maintained and tightened. The Swiss are traditionally prepared for crises and have a reservist system in place for such catastrophes. The United Kingdom will undoubtedly attempt to organize centralized control. We are talking about deploying the army into cities. But in the event of failure, under UK conditions, fragmentation will obviously begin into zones of London and the regions. The most cohesive population in the UK is in Northern England and Scotland. What can we say before we begin to analyze the situation in detail by regions? In Southern and Western Europe, chaotic self-organization into enclaves is more likely. In Central, Northern, and Eastern Europe, the focus is on order, at any cost, through war and police. These are the realities we will discuss today. So, let's imagine Europe in crisis. After all, this blackout can happen again and last for a long time. How do we see this picture? Massive blackouts occur in Spain, France, partially in Germany and Belgium, in major cities such as Marseille, Paris, Brussels, Berlin. Disruptions begin in transportation and water supply, supermarkets, new stores, mass purchases of food, water, and attempts. Money is withdrawn from accounts to convert it into cash. And everything, of course, happens only with cash. What will happen on the outskirts of major metropolises? Acts of looting will intensify. We know of tens of millions of migrants, both documented and undocumented, living in Europe. This will especially occur in depressed areas, where the percentage of migrants reaches 80-90. This is the first month. What will happen in the second month in such a situation? The police are overwhelmed with uncontrolled riots in the suburbs of Paris, Marseille, Brussels, Rotterdam. In some areas, undoubtedly, local residents, Europeans, begin to self-organize into patrols to protect their homes. Direct movements strengthen right-wing movements. Conservative, we can call them nationalist. They will increase their activity, demanding the urgent deportation of illegal migrants. Governments will begin to introduce states of emergency in the second month, but definitely, with the low numbers of Western European armies, it will not be enough for total control of all territories. The third month. Fragmentation is possible. Large, gray zones will appear. Areas where the state authority will not be able to intervene. In zones of self-organization, communities will take control into their own hands. Where is this possible in Western Europe? The Basques will defend Basque cities. The Corsicans will guard Corsica. Armenians and those from Marseille, numbering more than 150,000 to 200,000, will patrol their neighborhoods. Sicilians will guard the southern cities of Sicily. Migrant gangs will emerge to control resources. What resources? Food, fuel, water. And if a blackout lasts for 6 months, we will have to understand that the supply to major cities will be practically paralyzed. Fuel shortages, food shortages, medicine shortages, local enclaves of stability will form. Where is this possible in Western Europe? South Tyrol, Corsica, Sardinia, Basque cities, mountainous regions of Andalusia, Armenian districts of Marseille. These enclaves will create their own security structures, barter markets, and local self-governance. And what will happen in the metropolises of Paris, Berlin, Brussels? Most likely, there will be periodic waves of violence between different ethnic groups, for control over areas. And what will happen if events develop in this way? What will happen in 6 months? A new order. What will this new order be like? We understand that we are discussing these issues precisely because Europe has been brought to such a situation by organizing uncontrolled migration, organizing it deliberately. So, what kind of order could it be with such a development of events? Dear friends, thank you. In some countries, we are talking about Western and Southern Europe, processes of actual federalization will begin. Strong regions, Basques, Catalans, Corsicans will demand even greater autonomy. The European Union, in its former form, it too will functionally disintegrate. Each country and even each region will independently solve its problems. There you have it, Europe. Of Euro regions. Between some enclaves, new local alliances will be established in such a case, based on trade defense. Naturally, all of this will be accompanied, and we saw this over 8 hours. Yesterday's day of technological degradation. Without constant electricity, my friends, the destruction of all centralized services occurs. The internet, banking system, and international flights. All of this breaks down. So, Western Europe. Where will local Europeans be able to maintain control? Certain regions of Spain, some areas of Catalonia, the Basque Country, and the mountainous areas of Andalusia. In France, again, the Basque territories and the island of Corsica. Without state support, they will be able to maintain for 6 months. Security and autonomy. Armenian regions of Marseille and Lyon. Next, Benelux, the situation is quite complicated. In certain rural regions of the Netherlands and Belgium, this will be possible. In large cities, most likely, chaos is predicted. The microstate of Monaco is completely dependent on France. Ensuring security independently is problematic. Andorra will be able to ensure its security and autonomy. San Marino in Italy will be able to, by communicating with the province of Romagna. Liechtenstein having a high tradition of mobilization. We know that the Liechtensteiners once carried out a full mobilization before the German invasion, which did not take place, will be able to do so with the support of Switzerland. Switzerland most likely will be able to. In Italy, in the northern regions, it's South Tyrol. In the south, it's the regions of Calabria and Sicily. In Germany, again, everything is segmented. The former GDR will most likely hold out. In other war territories, everything will obviously resemble a patchwork. In Norway, Finland, and Sweden, there will be a struggle between rural regions and metropolises, where it will definitely hold out. Europe, Scotland, Ireland, Iceland, and the Faroe Islands, where they can establish order and control. Immigrants will not be allowed to destroy the foundations of the state and European civilization. As for Western and Central Europe, that's about it. Events in Austria will unfold similarly to those in Germany. Let's move to the east. Of course, Poland and Slovakia, including Hungary, will be able to maintain order. Let's add the Czech Republic, Croatia, and Slovenia to this list. These are the countries where the European Union and European law will be preserved, which have experience and systems to counteract control over migrant communities. More complex processes will occur in Serbia, Bosnia, Albania, Macedonia, and Greece. There will be a struggle there, but in principle, they have a fairly strong clan system. They will also manage to withstand. Romania, and evidently Bulgaria, to some extent. Such a complex forecast picture. This is undoubtedly just a forecast. Currently seems likely, if there continues to be already, but a large and prolonged blackout. More news in every broadcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. More news on the Telegram channel. Subscribe to the Telegram channel. All the information is in the video description and on the YouTube page. Thank you very much, dear friends. And of course, see you again with new expert forecasts and analyses.